From today, eligible working parents of children older than 9 months will be able to apply for 30 hours of free childcare as part of new government reforms coming into effect. But can the early years workforce, who will be required to meet this need, stand up to demand? Well, a new report from the National Foundation for Educational Research, the NFER, warns that nurseries may not have enough staff to deliver the government's expansion of funded childcare in England. Jack Worth is the Education Workforce Lead for the NFER and joins me now. Jack, good morning.
Good morning.
So, look, just to catch us up, the new reforms give parents 30 hours of free childcare. What's that been sort of brought up from?
So it's been gradually going up what the big change is the change to the age groups. So It's been eligible for 3-year-olds for a long time, but it's gradually been moved earlier. So now it's available 30 hours from 9 months old.
Right. Okay.
And a significant extension to the childcare that's available, subsidised by the government.
Absolutely. And take me through what the NFER finds in this report then.
So expanding the childcare entitlement in this way presents real challenges of delivery because more places means more children in childcare and therefore more staff needed. The government estimates that compared to 18 months ago, the sector needs 35,000 more staff. And that's a real challenge to find those staff, to recruit them, and then also ultimately to retain them to make sure that workforce stays and that the capacity to deliver that entitlement remains. But there are challenges. The workforce has been growing over the last year quite substantially. So at a national level, it looks like at the current growth rate, that 35,000 will be met. But one of the key challenges is that there's a lot of difference across the country in terms of different regions, in terms of how many extra places are likely to be needed, from kind of London, where there's a lot of existing childcare provision and the subsidy is just changing how it's paid for, compared to some places in north of England, where we're expecting 30% increase in the number of places needed. So huge variation in where those staff are going to need to come from, and therefore challenges in terms of how they're recruited and retained, and whether providers are indeed able to recruit and retain the staff that they need to be able to offer these places.
Do the sums add up? Are the various providers getting enough money to fund this initiative, to actually fund this initiative?
I think funding is a key challenge, and that's partly because low pay is a really significant factor affecting recruitment and retention of people working in the early years sector. They earn significantly less than similar people in other jobs outside, so making it attractive is challenging, and the funding rates that government sets now cover a huge amount of the revenue that early years providers have. So that dictates how much pay and what that pay structure looks like. And it needs to be competitive to attract and retain those staff and ensure that there's good career progression. And our report highlights that those are significant challenges, remain significant challenges, and are likely to continue to without the additional funding needed to really make it attractive.
How's early years provision been faring over the last decade or so? What's the general trajectory there? Is there a sense of it being sort of stable? Is there a sense of it being in crisis and decline? What's the thinking generally?
Staff-wise, there has been a big increase in the last 3 or 4 years in the number of staff. So there has been growth and there has been an increase in capacity despite these workforce challenges and despite the attractiveness of the profession. But one of the things that's really there's been an increase in all types of staff, including those with lower qualifications, and the government has a real ambition about making sure that there's a high level of qualification to give really high quality childcare, alongside this challenge about increasing the amount of capacity. So there's real challenges about upskilling and making sure that there's that career progression and that clear career pathway for those coming into work in the early years sector, to make sure that they're retained and they continue to stay.
Specifically then, which parts of the country should we be worrying about here where this provision is going to be hardest to provide?
Yeah, so there's significant differences across the country, with places such as Sunderland, so the northeast, the northwest, South Yorkshire, the southwest of England as well, seeing expected by the government to see a big increase in demand for childcare places, but other areas, such as areas in London where there will be very little change to the landscape, likely. Obviously, a big change to the funding landscape, but little in terms of capacity. So, huge variation in those challenges across the country.
Finally, then, Jack, what are you hoping the government should improve here? What should the government do to make this go more smoothly?
Well, so the government has launched a strategy back in July. So that kind of puts forward the ideas about how this is going to be delivered, how quality is going to be improved, how the workforce is a key part of that. So the workforce was a really key part of that, which is really positive to see. We just need to see the government follow through with those actions to really make the improvements that they say they're going to in terms of making it more attractive as a place to work, to really recruit and retain those staff that the system needs.
And look, sorry, I know I said finally, but finally, Ellen's been in touch while we're talking, saying, why are you constantly looking for such negativity as possible over what should be a great story? She's got a point, hasn't she? This is a great story. This is really going to help parents. This is a really impressive initiative.
Absolutely. It's really important for parents. It's going to be, I think, really well received by parents. I think one of the risks is that it is a positive thing for parents, and that it's a promise or a pledge, and actually the risks are that it isn't delivered because those staff aren't there. So really making sure that those staff are there to be able to deliver it and really make sure it's high quality, I think will make it a really good news story. So we're not trying to be negative, but there are challenges nonetheless.
Nor me neither. Thank you very much indeed. That's Jack Worth, the Education Workforce Lead for the NFER. Thank you, Jack. And thank you also, Ellen, for that vital corrective there.